Good morning. You're on the lifeboat. This is Captain Calhoun speaking. What is going on? Good morning. Friday morning. We have made it to the weekend, folks. Ooh, this is my first sip of coffee. Bear with me here. It's very important. It has been very hot. It's still very hot. What is going on, folks? Today's going to be a great episode. I'm really excited about this. I've been struggling to figure out how I can talk about family and forgiving family and, struggles with a lot of the stuff that we talk about. But, if it wasn't a friend or an associate or a coworker, what if it was a member of your family, right? Someone that's intrinsically tied to you, someone that you're genetically wired to love, right? So this is going to be fun. And I've decided that the way that I'm going to do that is by breaking down some of I'll use my own examples from my life. They may or may not apply to everyone, right? So with a grain of salt, but through this, we'll have a better opportunity to apply to our own lives. That being said, good morning, Tommy Bird. Good to see you. Kristen Melinda, Shannon Smith, Stacy Allen. What is going on, folks? Kristen Melinda, always a pleasure. I live for now. Brianna Miller, Goosebump, Tony's Hooter, hello, TKK, good to see you, Anna. I didn't know you had two accounts until I read that comment that you left the other day. Tammy Hinton, what is going on? I don't know if I've ever said hello to you, Tammy, but welcome in. It's good to see you. It's nice to make your acquaintance. Blessed to Crochet, Mary Jones, the newly monetized crochet master. Where is my cupcake? I must have been showing it off to somebody because it's not at my desk. Roberto, what is going on? Good to see you. Yeah, this is going to be a good one. We're a little bit late this morning because I had a lot of stuff I needed to take care of this morning. I woke up not feeling super great. I had to go to the bathroom and all kinds of other things. But you don't need to know about that. But so that being said, Flick Fox, what's going on? Monk, Searcher, Monk. What's going on, dude? Good to see you. I love that thumbnail. Flick Fox says I just switched off loud music after being productive for the past 5 hours. Oh, Lord. And now I feel very much like I'm in a classroom and need to be quiet. Well, do as you will. I support it. Gypsy Soul, good to see you. Beta. Well, yeah, guys. Most of y'all know my story or the grand overview of it at the very least. But, especially with the homeless shelter incident, I say incident, I was homeless for like 2.5, almost 3 years. And maybe it was more than that because I didn't spend it all in one place. But when I say incident, I mean the fact that my family dropped me off there. Like they had no other choice or something. That was really, really hard for me to get over. That was really, really hard for me to forgive. And, sometimes I still think about it in my head and wonder why I forgave, right? I still have some emotions about it for sure. And I might have emotions about it forever. That might just be how it is. That's not something I can wrap my brain around, right? Like I try to see it from their perspective. Like they had been trying to have a kid, my uncle and aunt that were taking care of me very hard for many years. And they finally were blessed with a child. And I was, living in their house and smoking pot and partying and stuff. So, and I guess it doesn't matter, but I was going to say I wasn't smoking pot in the house. I was just a pot smoker, right? But so I can kind of see from their perspective how they wouldn't want to bring a child into the world with, this kind of a wild nephew about, right? But I mean, the homeless shelter, that part is the hard part for me to wrap my brain around, right? Like they had no idea what they were doing. They had no idea where they were dropping me off. They had no idea what kind of adventures I was about to go on. And when I say adventures, I don't mean that in an adventurous, exciting sense. I mean that the things that would come to pass, none of us could have imagined in our wildest nightmares. And they willingly did that. Grandpa flew out to Chicago to do so, to drop me off there. Graham walked me into the office of this place. She saw what was going on. And I just don't think that it occurred to her that she was abandoning me. I don't think that it occurred to her that she wasn't going to see me for 3 more years, And at that time, I didn't know that either, right? And for all I know, that was a stroke of luck that I even got to see them ever again. I could have just been gone with the wind. I could have died. There's so many things that could have happened. They released me to the wolves. There was a guy in the homeless shelter, and his name was, they called him Nail Dog. And he was a part of the Deuce Deuce Clique, which is a street in, I don't know, it's a gang. I don't know where they're located, and I shouldn't speak on them because I'm not educated, right? And that's not my business, right? But those were the kind of people, right? I was hanging out with gangbangers. I was hanging out with ne'er-do-wells. I was hanging out with people named Nail Dog. But they didn't know that, and I try to give them that benefit of the doubt, right? They had never had to experience anything like that in their lives. And that's how I start, right? The way I start trying to forgive. Well, maybe we should start here. Why would I want to forgive my family? That's a very big question, right? Because if I don't want to forgive them, why go through the struggle, right? Maybe they're just dead to me and it's fine. That's a lot easier, right? Well, I have to say if love is the answer and connection is the answer, we don't want to, if it's a connection that's valuable, if it's a connection that serves me, if it's a family member that loves me, whether or not they've made a mistake, it's worth the endeavor to try and repair the relationship, right? And the way we do that is through forgiveness in the beginning. And the way I start trying to forgive these people, what was I going to say? Here, I'm going to pause for coffee. I'll remember. Is trying to see the situation through their eyes. Now, this can be a maddening exercise. This trying to see things through other people's eyes can drive one insane because we can't ever fully understand someone's perspective and fully understand someone's mind, right? And their motives. But we can kind of take a little peek into, we can understand a little bit, right? So with a grain of salt, if you are going to try and see things through your family member that's wronged you's eyes, don't take it to the bank, right? It's just a little flavor text that'll help you understand, right? It's not going to give you the full picture. But if I can try and understand why they did what they did, it is a lot easier to not be angry, right? Because I am a firm believer that everyone's doing their best, right? Nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to drop off my kid at the homeless shelter. Screw them. No one does that. You know what I mean? I think that we're all doing our best. And maybe our best is terrible, right? Maybe we're a sick person, right? Maybe we have a raging alcohol addiction, right? Maybe this, maybe that. But even under the worst circumstances, I think that we're doing our best. That being said, if I can see things through my family's eyes just a little bit and kind of try and see what they were going through and why they made those decisions, it helps me let that anger go a lot. It helps a ton. Forgiveness is for the forgiver, says Monk. This is very, very important, y'all. Forgiveness is for oneself, right? Is to heal your own soul. It can also do wonders to bridge the gap between you and the person you're forgiving, right? But it definitely starts here. It definitely starts within. 100%. Thank you for that, Monk. I appreciate that. This is already off to a banger of a start. I can tell this is going to be great. Body Illusion, good to see you. Martha Hornbostel. Carry a lot of anger that's not healthy, yet some family members not healthy ever. And this may be the case, right? There might be a very good reason for the separation between you and your family members, right? I think it's very important to identify whether or not this is a relationship that deserves repairing. And you get to decide that. You get to decide, this is all of a sudden not a comfortable chair. You get to decide who's in your space. You get to decide what relationships are for you, right? Whether or not you're blood, like that only means so much, right? You're genetically wired to like this person and to have empathy and to love this person because you come from the same stock. But they could be a terrible, terrible person. Who knows, right? I was about to say a boater's name, but there's a boater I can think of off the top of my head we were hanging out with last night. And, if I was in her shoes, I would have a really, really hard time forgiving my family. You know what I mean? They're all struggles are not created equal. And, even looking at my own situation, it's very hard for me to wrap my brain around forgiveness. Geoplanet Jane, good to see you. Always a pleasure. Deaudre Gore, Mario. Tammy, my family doesn't want to be nice or caring to me. Well, screw them then. Let them go. And my initial reaction is usually that full force response, and that might not be the best That might not be the best for everyone, but if my family doesn't want to be nice to me, they don't need to be around me. That's how I feel about that, right? If they don't want to be caring, if they just want to be jerks, I don't need them in my space. That's funny. That last line sent like 10 people for the hills. Whatever. It is what it is. This isn't going to be flower and rainbows. We're talking about the bottom of the barrel here. We're talking about digging through the trenches and trying to find the light. Hill hath no fury. Good to see you this morning. Forgiveness and empathy come more easily to me than boundaries, says Hill. Yeah, boundaries are difficult. Forgiveness and empathy come equipped in the package, right? We're born with empathy. Boundaries are something we have to learn. That's a human construct, right? Mario says, I learned to construct the type of time I spend with family to keep the interactions healthy for me. Best thing I ever did for myself. Allows me to be there without giving myself away. This is a very, very important point. I think that this is such a great topic. It deserves its own show, Mario. Like, we're going to talk about forgiveness today, but I should come back and talk about how to structure things in our best interest, right? Like everyone's not going to, it's not going to fit together like a jigsaw puzzle, right? Like there are going to be some hard edges. There are going to be some soft edges. There are going to be some space in the middle. Not everything's going to fit perfectly, right? So we can make things fit better by adjusting the way that we move through the world and the way we move through situations with family. In fact, I do this as well. I have to, because that hurt is still there. When I go and visit these parts of the family, I have to remember certain things. And you know what's interesting? I have set boundaries again and again with my grandma and grandpa, and they have now done this for themselves as well. They quit throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, right? They quit doing the same thing over and over that they know isn't going to go well, that it bugs me or, hurts my feelings. Now we have identified a space that we can exist in, and we stay there. When we're together, we exist in a space that everyone's amiable, and this is going to take time. But anyways, back to forgiveness and family. If I can see things through my family's eyes, it's a very good start, right? So in my particular situation, I was a wild, 18-year-old pot smoking, alcohol drinking hellion, and I didn't want to listen to what Uncle Steve had to say. And he and Aunt Nicole had a baby on the way that they had been trying so hard to have for many years, right? This was the answer to their prayers, and I was a danger to that as far as they were concerned, right? Paternal instincts kick in, and we need to get Mike out of the house. So they sat me down to dinner and said they're going to take me to the homeless shelter. And that does sound harsh because it is, and it's pretty rough, right? And if I think about it even more, I think the reason Grandma and Grandpa flew out is because they also were like, whoa, but they didn't have a other solution, right? They didn't want to take me. They didn't see another solution, so they came to see me off. That was the best they could do. Stacey Allen says, not everyone belongs in our life or deserves a place. That's correct. Thank you for that goosebump. I like that. Put that on a shirt, huh? Brianna says, my sister's a raging narcissist. It's been interesting to try and structure a relationship with her. It's taken years. I don't know if I have narcissists in my life. It's hard for me to think about that. But I imagine that is a very difficult thing to do. But it sounds like you're having some modicum of success. Otherwise, you wouldn't be speaking in the past tense, eh? It's taken years. I'm so glad that you do have some modicum of success because, if we can have amiable relationships with our family, it's very nice, right? It's better than the alternative, right? So that's another really good reason to go ahead and try, right? And, if you try and it doesn't work out, whatever, right? We did our best, and that's all we can do. You're not going to be able to make everything fit, right? But anyways, so we start with trying to see through their eyes. And, a conversation with myself. Hold on, please hold. What do I have here? Let's get the screwdriver. Should I let him live? I'm going to let him live. He's going to carry the poison back to his friends. When they get on the desk, it really bothers me. It's like, yo, this is my space, you know? Now, I can't put the diatomaceous earth on my desk because then I will literally go insane. And I don't want to put like a border wall around it either because then I'll walk through it. Anyways, we're not going to talk about that. So I lost my place there. Son of a biscuit-eating bulldog. Grrr. More coffee. What do you do with the people who really are trying but still CA? Did you mean to say still can't? I guess this depends entirely upon the details, Hill. I'm trying to relate this to something I have in my life, something personal. I mean, what comes to mind immediately is what do you do with the people who really are trying but still can't respect your boundaries? I mean, that's very interesting. They're trying to respect your boundaries, but they can't. Does that mean that like their religion or like who they are is stopping them from treating you like a human because your choices are different? Is that what I'm picking up here? Or like, because respecting boundaries is very, very simple. You know what I mean? I either accept what you want, right? What you want in your space and how you want to be treated, or I don't. Like, there's no try, right? Master Yoda says there is no try. Well, I mean, so then the ball's in your court, Hill, right? You can make a choice to deal with it, let them treat you that way or not, right? And in my particular case, I'm not okay with that. I'm very fortunate that my grandparents don't force any of that stuff down my throat. They invite me to go to church, you know what I mean? And sometimes I do. It's kind of a fun thing to do sometimes. It's a ceremony. I don't necessarily practice any religion, right? But I do believe in a higher power. And we're not going to talk about that too much, but in that situation, they do respect my boundaries, right? But if they were to not, I probably wouldn't go there. I probably wouldn't be in their space because that kind of thing is offensive to me. And I don't mean that a religion is offensive. It's offensive for you to push what you believe onto me, right? And if I set a boundary like, hey, I really don't want to talk about this, or like, hey, I don't believe that, or if they're going to constantly salt and pepper our conversation with little snippets, like they're trying to be a missionary or something, I'm just not going to be in their space ever. And I'll probably let them know, like, hey, this really bugs me. You know that. And you're either incapable of not doing it or you're choosing not to. So I'm not going to come around anymore. And that's my personal opinion. But again, the ball's in your court, right? At that point, if they choose to not respect your boundaries, because it is a choice, it's 100% a choice. They are capable. I promise you that. They are capable. And, maybe, I guess if like great grandma Rosemary, rest her soul, if she had spoken to me about these things, it probably would have hit different, right? Because she was 98 years old when she passed. I'm not expecting my 98-year-old grandma to change the way that she is, right? But like, if it's my parents, I think that we can come to an understanding. We've known each other our whole lives. You know what I mean? Or at least for my part. I think that we can come to an understanding. And if not, I feel like it's a choice, right? And if they're making a choice, I feel like that's disrespectful, right? Like, do you not respect who I am and what I want? Like, what you want is more important than what I want that much? Like, that bothers me on like a core level, on a principle level, right? And I can't abide that. But again, the ball's in your court. You can decide whether or not you want to put up with that or, set a boundary. And often with my grandparents, I had to set that firm boundary. I disappeared out of their lives more than once. The homeless thing, they didn't see me for a long, long time. When I came back into their life, there was some boundaries that needed to be set as well. And I cut ties with them multiple times, and they couldn't abide not having me in their life. So they adjusted how they treated me. They adjusted the space that they held for me became much more loving and nurturing and less overbearing, right? but also I kind of got my stuff together and they kind of respected that I was doing my thing after a little while. I have missed a lot. Let me scroll and read. No, I have not, Body Illusion. Things are really rough over here, as you can imagine. I do not have the ability to do so alone. And my dad's having a hard time, right? So we're gonna have to be patient. I really want to go over there. From what I understand, he's been since I've seen the fruits of that, if that makes sense. So like there should be multiple orders, so to speak. I don't know if that's the right word, but there should be like multiple gatherings. He's been and not come here is what I'm saying. So there's more stuff, and then there's more stuff. And it's starting to really stress me out. But I mean, at the end of the day, I try not to let this PO box thing stress me out, because it's like the least important thing out of everything. If my dad can have some like solace, some serenity, some peace, that's it. That's my prayers answered right there. You know what I mean? That's all that I want for him. So if, a lot of things seem to be a source of stress because he's dealing with so much right now. So I just try to give him that space and whatnot. But I would like to go up there. I definitely would. I'm going to be mobile here soon. I have a, let's call it a Vespa. It's not a Vespa, but I have a scooter that goes like 80 miles an hour. I just need to get it tuned up. At the end of the month, it should be good to go. Or at the end of the month, it should be going into the shop. On the website, they boast of timeliness. So hopefully it doesn't take forever to tune this thing up. It's a pretty simple engine. I would do it myself, but I've never worked on a motorcycle before. I have put engines back together wrong and then had to sell at a very cheap price. So I'm really hoping that's why I want to take it to the shop. I would like to not do that, because what you end up doing is you take the engine apart, you put in all these hours, so many hours, blood, sweat, and tears, and then you can't even get it right. It's quite demoralizing. So I'm going to let someone that knows what they're doing do it. Cooking with the grandma. It has been a while. Good to see you. So glad to be here with my chosen family. Sending extra prayers for you and your family, Spanx. Thank you. Those are felt. I hope you know that. When y'all put the ones up for me and my dad and my family, like, it is felt. We feel the difference. I'm looking over there because I have one blind that's like just cocked a little bit more than the rest. I have a pipe fitter's eyes. I can see the difference and it bugs me. Geoplanet Jane, I have faith. I have faith it's going to be all right. Where were we? I hope that helped, Hillary. Hill. I don't know why I called you Hillary. I've never done that before. I did feel very, very abandoned, but I have forgiven them, right? That's the point. The point is we've come to a place where, Kellyanne, good to see you. Rose Toes. Let's go. I love that name. The point is that I've come to a place of forgiveness and we have amiable relationships. I actually went to visit Uncle Steve and Aunt Nicole, which I never thought I would be okay with that again. But the family went out to visit them in Florida and we all went to Universal Studios. I think my mom treated us. I can't remember if it was my mom or my grandma, but usually when the whole family gets together, it's like on a member of the family, like someone's like making it happen. But it went all right. We had amiable relations. Uncle Steve always teaches me cooking tricks, and he's a chef. He's a bad mofo too. I love his cooking. And in fact, 90% of my cooking skills, well, my foundation came from him, 100%. I've worked in a lot of kitchens since then, right? And picked up some things here and there, but he's a bad man. And I mean that in the best way. Like, he's a great, great cook. And he's got a pretty sweet smoker, and I won't get into it, but we had some really cool time, right? It is definitely, like, our interactions are charged with history, but we choose to be in the moment and to not like he's a really smart guy. He gets it. He totally gets it, right? I don't know how he feels about that decision, but again, when I try to see it through his eyes, he had no other choice, right? From his perspective. I don't know if that's how he feels, but we don't really talk about it. I don't bring it up because I don't want to pick scabs, right? But yeah, we just need to identify whether or not it's worth forgiveness, whether or not it's worth mending the bridge. And if it's worth mending the bridge, we got to do our best. And the way that starts is with a conversation. If we've identified it and we can see through their eyes and we start to understand why they made the decisions they made, maybe we should talk to them. Be like, hey, I'm sorry, for my part in all of this. Obviously, it must have been mighty stressful to have a wild hellion living in your house, and finally your much awaited child comes into the world, right? I'm really sorry that I put you through that. I'm really sorry that, I put you in a position where you had to make an impossible choice, and that's the conversation that we had. And we cried a little bit. And, you don't always get what you expect on the back end, right? I don't remember if he said sorry to me or not. I feel like he didn't, but that's okay. I don't care. It's over. It's done with. And for the fact of the matter is, it made me a better person. It was a nightmare that went on for years, but it made me better. I made it out okay. I'm not in prison. I'm not dead. I was a drug addict, right? But I'm doing okay now. I'm sober, right? I'm doing this. So, at the end of the day, it's all good. But that may not be the case for you. That may not be the case for you. These kind of things are very, very complicated because the emotional side, right? I love this person. They are my family. I also feel like I should. There's that word that we want to eliminate, right? I should mend this bridge because they're family. Well, that's a construct in your head. That's societal expectations, family expectations. We want to do away with that and decide what's right for us, right? Does this person make my life better? If I mend this bridge, are we going to be better for it? Often it's not so simple, right? Often there's, like Hill was saying, they're trying to respect my boundaries, but they can't, or they're choosing not to. Maybe they didn't drop you off at the homeless shelter. Maybe they assaulted you, right? Maybe it's completely different circumstances. And I can't make that decision because I've never been in that position, right? I don't understand the ins and outs of that kind of interaction, but you do because you've been there. You understand it better than anyone. And I'm not saying you have it all makes sense, but I'm saying that you're the only one that gets to decide whether or not you want to let this person back into your life. I would like to tell you the baseline should be no, right? Start with no. And then if you can come to a yes, then that's a good thing, right? But especially like we don't have people in our lives and we set boundaries for a good reason, right? This is harmful to me. This is harmful to my situation. And I would cut the harm immediately and then decide where to go from there, right? Maybe our baseline is no contact. Maybe our baseline is not forgiveness, right? And then we get to work towards that place if we so choose. And we're going to do that again through journaling. Eventually, you'll be ready to have a conversation and try and see it from their perspective. Again, the seeing it from their perspective can be a maddening endeavor. You'll never be able to see exactly what was going through their head, right? But just for an exercise, try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like if you were them and you were doing your best, how does that decision make sense, right? And in the case of assault, that's a sick person, right? Don't try to see it from their eyes. Like in those kind of situations, don't do that. That's not how we work on that. Thank you for saying so, Geoplanet Jane. Rose Toes says, I'll see my sister tomorrow for the first time in 2 years at a family gathering. Not looking forward to it. We'll see what I do with the boundary I have regarding her. Well, I wish you all the luck, Rose Toes, and grace and patience. Oftentimes, I have to exercise legendary amounts of patience with family. In fact, I think that family and patience kind of go hand in hand, eh? It's very interesting because we're all very different, unique people, but for some reason we have this blood that ties us together, right? And we often think that it means more than it does. All it means is that we have the same genes and we come from the same pool, right? But really, I have wildly different views than my family members, right? I have wildly different values. And that's why I say I'm a part of the human party, right? I'm about human values. Everyone's so very different, but I think that we can all agree on like human stuff, right? Like this is good and this is bad. This is better than that. I think that there are some things that we can't possibly disagree on because it's just human, right? There's either good or there's bad. There's empathy or there's lack thereof. There's narcissism, right? Tommy Bird, sometimes we can make other people's life better by sacrificing a part of our own, but we can't allow that sacrifice to be harmful to ourselves, our lives, or the ones we love and care for. Well, prolific. I'm going to leave that one up. That's really, really good. Thank you for that, Tommy. Yeah, I try not to sacrifice, right? I try not to give away pieces of myself for the greater good, right? The greater good is my good. You feel me? Like, especially if I'm not in a good place, if I'm unbalanced, if I'm having trauma and baggage constantly come up and in my head, in my narrative, I'm not in a healthy place, right? So numero uno needs to be taken care of. And I need to make sure that the greater good, my well-being is taken care of. And once we have that taken care of, we can start deciding whether or not we want to forgive people, whether or not we want to, and again, it's not that easy, right? Whether or not we want to work towards forgiveness. Because it's never as simple as, oh, you're forgiven. You know, it's a process in the heart. There's a lot of struggle. There's a lot of work that goes into it, inner work, that spiritual work, right? When we're journaling about this kind of thing, when we're writing down how we feel about the interactions that we've had with this person and why we don't want them in our space or why we are even thinking about whether or not to forgive them, we are moving emotions in our hearts, right? We're moving things around, things that you can't see, feel, or touch or taste, right? Maybe that sixth sense thing. These things are ethereal. Cheryl says, "Where's Tommy?" I imagine he's at home doing yoga or something like that. I am his son, and I do the morning show. Welcome in. Captain Calhoun here. Maybe we can get the captain's hat on, right? And we can look the part so people don't get confused. I'm going to scroll up in the chat and do some reading. I feel like I'm missing some important testimonials from the crew here, which is literally half the reason we do this, right? Connection and in fleshing things out, right? This is kind of a peer support group, right? So we definitely I want to make sure that these voices are heard. This is a great song. Yeah, Martha, I would find it very difficult to forgive this person, right? I don't think that, like, I don't know. Those kinds of situations are very sticky, right? I don't think that forgiveness will make y'all's relationship better. In fact, y'all are probably better off not in each other's lives, right? That person's probably better off behind bars, if you don't mind me saying so. Lock them away and throw away the key. That kind of thing is unacceptable. And it gets my blood boiling. I was brought up to defend women, right? They're God's gift to this earth, the most beautiful creatures on the planet. That's what my dad used to tell me, right? And we stand up for them as men. So I have a very hard time finding forgiveness in me for someone like that. Tommy Bird says, sacrifice can, I repeat, can be a valuable thing as far as in the end scenarios, but if they're not carefully weighed out beforehand, they can definitely be harmful to self. I definitely agree, right? But if I'm going to sacrifice pieces of myself, I need to have pieces of myself to sacrifice. That's what I was trying to say, is if I don't have a foundation, if I don't have like a nice baseline, I should not be giving up, right? I need to be building myself up. There is a time and a place for sacrifice, right? But I wasn't there for like 30 years. I had nothing to give, nothing except myself, right? Dennis from Boston, good to see you. Big dog. Archie's mom, hello, hello. I'm so glad you're here. It's been ages since I've caught a live stream. Love to you all. It's good to see you. Yeah, Robin says limit your time, Rose Toes. That's another thing that I had to practice early on was limiting the amount of time. And I can think about it in advance, like, oh, I'll spend this much time. But in the moment, if I start feeling a some kind of way, I might just remove myself, right? And that way I can get back to center and I can be okay. It's hard to be a good person. It's hard to make good decisions. It's hard to be nice when we're off balance, when we're triggered, when we're not in our right mind, right? So have patience and show yourself some grace, right? 100%. I love that. May Child, hello. Thank you. You've helped me with the situation I've been struggling with. I'm so glad to hear that. That's literally why I do it. I didn't think that I had anything to offer, but it turns out I have a ton. Turns out I have a ton. Dale Cox, good to see you, big dog. How you doing? Wow, I'm so far up in chat. I'm about to go back up there too. What does it mean to feel some type of way? That means to feel emotions very much, or to feel triggered. Or let's say I'm hanging out with my friends and someone says something in jest, but it like really bothers me. Like maybe they make a joke about something that I don't find funny, right? That's not a joke. That's serious. Well, I'm going to feel some type of way about that. When it's some type of way. So that can refer to a broad range of emotions too. It's definitely a slang term that's not specific. Some type of way could mean I want to fight you. Some type of way could mean that I didn't like that at all. And I don't know if I want this in my space, right? Some type of way means an emotional response, basically. Thank you for asking that. I probably use a lot of slang and don't even realize it. So if I say something that doesn't make sense, please say something. I really thank you for asking, Deidre Gore. I don't want to be saying things that are going over y'all's heads. I want to be communicating, and I want us to be on the same page. That way we can all learn and grow together, which is what we've been doing for, I don't know, 8 months now. We're doing a great job. Martha, in that case, I don't know, I can't fathom forgiveness for that man, but now that he's gone, forgiveness is purely for yourself if you can find it within you. Just food for thought. Right? Because carrying around that, like, I don't know how you feel about him, but that hate, that negative, whatever negative emotions that you must carry for him, right? It weighs you down. It drains you. It's taxing physically and emotionally. My dad's hitting me up. If you can let those emotions go in some way, shape, or form, it will benefit you. And that's all. Just food for thought. I have to answer this. I can't type this morning. I did just tell him that everyone says hey. Yeah, some type of way is intentionally vague, I feel like, GeoPlanet Jane. That way I don't have to delve into my deeper emotions in the moment. I can just say emotional response, you know? All right, I'm going to do some more reading here. I feel like I'm missing stuff. Have a good day, Dale. Tommy Bird says forgiveness and trust are not mutually exclusive. They don't have to exist together. They can exist independent of each other for sure. I agree. That's very important. You're not doing good, Dale? What's going on, man? I don't know if you're still here or not. I feel like Dale shows up sometimes, and if I don't notice, he immediately leaves. And maybe that's just in my head, but that is what it feels like. which is, I mean, to each their own, which is fine. I love seeing Dale. It's very curious. It's interesting. Reading, I'm reading, I'm reading, I'm reading. Maybe I didn't miss anything. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. So just to recap, well, real quick, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It makes a big difference. That's why we're growing so big, because y'all keep doing so, and I really appreciate that. Surviving Together, good to see you. So Surviving Together is a safe place for sexual assault and other trauma survivors to connect and heal. Pardon me, I can't speak. Proud to be a Ripple, live 3 p.m. Eastern Saturday. Absolutely. Surviving Together, if you want, you can put that message here anytime. I have a hard time talking about that kind of thing because it's not my story. So I love that this is something that you do. I love that this is a service that you do. And I would love to promote you more, because I struggle with these topics very, very much. And they're very emotionally, like, it bothers the crap out of me, right? Because of the way I was raised, but I don't have any experience, right? So it's really hard to help. It's really hard to be a light when I don't know. So I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Surviving Together, everybody, is one of our many ripples. And they've been with us since the beginning, as far as I know. And they have a wonderful channel. Go check them out, please. Give them a like, subscribe, and hit their bell for notifications, especially if this is something that you are going through or have gone through. Surviving Together, I definitely will. I can't get into it right now, and I need my dad's help to do so. And he's really, really busy right now. So if you've emailed me at sober@myyahoo.com in the past week, I haven't read it because I don't have the password for it. We need to do a little reset. As soon as I get in there, I'll get back to you. I'm super sorry. I'm doing my best. Yarn Prepper, good to see you. Brianna Miller says, also, sometimes it's healthy to be a little introspective. Sometimes you're the one being toxic and crossing someone's boundaries. It's taken me so long to learn this. Absolutely. I have like a habit. I chronically will be introspective, sometimes far too much, right? Sometimes I have trouble coming out of myself and into the world, if that makes sense. But other people have the opposite issue, right? They have a very hard time being introspective. It's very, very important to take a step back and ask oneself, am I the problem? Because you very well may be making a mistake or overstepping a boundary casually and not even knowing, right? And it's obviously not intentional, but that doesn't change the damage that could be done if you're, unknowingly stepping on someone's boundaries. Thank you, Blessed to Crochet. I appreciate that. Blessed to Crochet is one of our other many ripples. Has a wonderful channel. Go check her out. I used to promote the ripples regularly, and then I stopped. I don't know why I did that. We used to have a whole ripple plan, and things kind of moved away from that. But I think I'm gonna have to write all your names down so that I can promote you properly, like a good and proper. Because otherwise, I feel like I'm not doing a service to all of us. I feel like I'm doing us a disservice if I don't. Are you live every day, Surviving Together? I just learned I have ADHD. I'm 52. It really has shook me in terms of seeing behaviors I never did before. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. They told me that's what I had when I was like 4 or 5 years old. So I've just lived thinking that I'm different than everyone else my whole life. Less drinks helps to see clearer, says Rose Toes. I can definitely attest to that. Live Wednesday at 6 p.m. and Saturday at 3 p.m. Okay. I'm going to write that down. And Blessed to Crochet, what's your schedule? Come on, keyboard, cooperate. Oh, I love this song so much. I want to go see Slipknot live really bad. I've never seen them live. I've heard they suck. I've heard they're great. I don't care. I really want to go see them. My brain is struggling. And you can give me that schedule later, Blessed to Crochet. I would just like to tell people where and when to find you every time I possibly can. No sweat, Body Illusion. Don't be sorry. I'm happy you're back too. We all have our own lives that we have to attend to. It's like a garden. If you ignore it, it withers and dies. Cooking with the Grandma says, pointing a finger at someone always leads to 3 pointing back at ourselves. It really sucks when you see that you're the problem. Well, I will say that it does suck, but it's the doorway to success, right? It's the doorway to not being the problem. It is the path forward. Carol Ann, good morning. Good to see you. How are you? Always a pleasure. Brianna is super insightful, isn't she, Anika? Maintaining a level of self-awareness is so important, especially in recovery from drugs, trauma, pain, etc. Some people just don't have any. I'd rather not be one of them. I tell you what, I definitely like noticing that people have noticing when people have no self-awareness bothers me so much that I like go way out of my way to make sure that I'm like aware and self-aware. Almost too much, for sure, a little bit too much. But I'd rather be too self-aware than not self-aware at all, right? 100%. Archie's mom raises a great point. Fixing yourself is the only way you can help anyone else. And that's why forgiveness comes from here, right? It has a lot to do with us. We may have been wronged, but our response, our reaction, the way that we feel about it is the base, right? That's where it all starts, because it's all about the self. I don't know where I was going with that, but you have to fix yourself to help anyone else. That's for sure. And in order to forgive, we have to also forgive ourselves. It may sound crazy, but you may or may not have some sort of guilt or feel some sort of responsibility, even if there's literally no possible way you could be responsible or have done anything wrong. For some reason, guilt worms its way into the deepest recesses of our minds when we are the most vulnerable, which is honestly when we need to be doing the forgiving the most, right? So it definitely starts within. You must forgive yourself, even if you've done nothing wrong. Body Illusion, thank you so much. Gifting the memberships. I love how a gift will go out and then I'll see a bunch of names in green. It's an exciting thing. It's pretty cute. Doing well cooking. I was so hungry when I got up. I immediately had yogurt and fruit. I'm probably going to, I don't know, make pancakes or sausage and eggs or something after this, because I could go for a hot meal, I tell you what. What are you cooking, Carol? Barbie Hall, hello, good morning. I have a live on Saturday. Try to schedule my lives out. Really don't have a schedule. We're really going to be trying to do live every day in December for sure. All right. Well, you know what I'll do is every time I see you, I'll just shout you out, because you don't have to have a schedule, right? Do your thing. It's your channel. But I would like to tell everyone how much I appreciate you and to go check you out. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and do so. All right, guys, that might be all I have. Did I miss anything? Does anyone else have some questions before I get into the wrap up phase here. Way we feel and the way we heal. I love that, Martha. Brianna, your breakfasts are legendary. Trail mix, huh? Trail mix, huh? I'm sending you wealthy vibes. I'm sending you, what's the word? Abundance in energy form. I'm sending you all of the abundance I can muster. Barbecue shrimp. Oh my. I am so jealous right now. I owned a barbecue once upon a time when I was with Lucy, and we had a house and everything was hunky dory. Missed that grill. Not necessarily that girl. Wish her the best, though. Kellyanne says, we often extend more grace and compassion to others than to ourselves. What we often say to ourselves in our heads is the evidence. Yes, that self-talk. Is your self-talk negative or positive? I'll have to say that if I'm not checking it, right? If I'm not driving the self-talk ship, if I'm just letting it drive itself, it's negative 90% of the time. And I have to kind of smack it into place like, hey, we don't talk to ourselves like that, you know? I'm actually awesome. And I'm one of a kind while I'm at it, you know? I try to offset my negative self-talk with positive self-talk and compassion. This is very, very important. This is a great, great point. What's ACES? I should probably have just Googled it, but I already asked you. About adverse childhood experiences. Potentially traumatic events that occur in childhood. That's something I could definitely come on and talk about. I am not opposed to that at all. Spanx, what happened to Tink Time? I've been having some issues with my stomach. After you digest, what's that part of your body called? I've been having some trouble with what happens next as well. So I have that kind of inserts more complications into the mix. It's not harmful, right? But it's not comfortable moving through what I'm moving through right now with tincture inside of my body. So we still do tincture time. I did it a few days ago, but I've been really taking a step back from it because I'm really trying to get my body into a place that I want it. So it will come back. I mean, we've got the mug. I've got a bunch of tincture over there. This is the wonderful Dale Cox's tincture with the moonshine. So it will come back. I really do enjoy it, but I've been trying to show my body some grace instead of putting it through the ringer. You know how we do. I like to go hard, right? Instead of just being gentle. So I'm trying to be a little gentle to myself recently. Garbage in, garbage out. That's right. Out with the old, in with the new, eh? Change is natural. Change is the only constant. And we must embrace it. It's in our nature. Even though stability and security feel better, I mean, things are a changing. You can't stop it. Yeah, and Barbie, I think that it must be stress that's causing. I have abdominal issues as well. I don't know if it's my diet. I don't know if there's actually something I need to get looked at. But that's basically what I was trying to say is I've been having intestinal issues, and stress definitely makes it worse. Thank you for saying that, Barbie. Sometimes I don't have the words. Maybe we should talk. Maybe my issues are similar to yours. I know that there's probably a huge array of things that could possibly be wrong with my abdomen, but I've been eating a ton of probiotic yogurt with no sugar. Well, no added sugar. Peristalsis, ginger. I hate ginger. I try really hard. I shouldn't say hate. It's such a strong word. I'm not a huge fan of the flavor. I will enjoy like a kombucha with a ginger flavor, or like a ginger beer or a ginger ale. I am kind of into that. But ginger as a standalone flavor or by itself is very strong. Maybe I just need to and also fennel. I do like chamomile. I don't know. Maybe this is why I'm having gut issues, because I'm not putting anything into my body that assists with it, right? I'm trying to do the yogurt and the probiotics, but maybe a little bit less dairy would be even more beneficial, huh? I appreciate you saying that, because it's very important that I feel good in the abdomen. I tell you what. Martha Hornbostel says, we have little ones inside us that need to be heard and loved. Yeah, I'm always trying to nurture little Mikey because he is wounded. He was wounded. I'm not lactose intolerant, Kellyanne. But I mean, when you eat a bunch of cheese, is it easier to have a bowel movement or harder? You know what I mean? So I think that dairy in general isn't necessarily good for passing things through your intestines. If you ask my friend Takara, she'll tell you that milk is for babies, and that I forgot what else I was going to say. That if you stop consuming it, the enzyme that your body creates to break it down, your body will stop producing it. And I believe her. I stopped drinking milk for quite a while, and then I started again. And I don't know if my body was like, oh, we remember, or if I'm just not producing the enzyme at all and I'm just making it hard. I don't know. Have I tried peppermint? No, I have not. I do quite enjoy some peppermint, though. When you say peppermint, you mean leaves? Peppermint leaves? You mean like peppermint tea? Because I know you don't mean just the flavor. The flavor itself can't possibly be what I need. Yeah, Barbie Hall says harder. That's right. That is the correct answer. Behind door number 1, we have a brand new car. Someone just walked by outside and heard me say that. That's hilarious. They're probably smiling. If they're not smiling, I don't know who they are. Oh, essential oil. Okay. Looking good in green, Lori Yabs. Good to see you. Kellyanne says, I am lactose intolerant, but love cheese. Yeah, cheese is pretty good. Oh, that sucks, Brianna. There are some really, really good vegan pizza places. There was a spot in Salt Lake that doesn't exist anymore, which is the craziest thing to me because it was the best pizza place. And they would deliver a vegan pizza that was just out of control, just so crazy delicious, called the Mellow Mushroom. So I would look into some vegan pizza, because if it's vegan, it's not real cheese, right? I would definitely give it a go. Although there may or may not still be lactose in it. So, right, do a little bit of research. But it's totally possible to not give up pizza in his position. But be careful, obviously, right? If my yogurt has carrageenan or erythritol in it, may be the issue. I get bad stomach pains from both. Also look up A1 and A2 protein in milk products. Almost all dairy used to be A2. Please hold. Are those parts of the culture? I don't have that. I have L. bulgaricus, S. thermophilus, and L. acidophilus. We got some philosophers in this container right here. I got this from Costco. I don't know why it says 0% milk fat, but it was the only yogurt that they had. So Take what I can get. I like how it says how to pronounce it right here. Faye. Because it certainly looks like Faggy, you know? Once open to consume within 5 days. Yeah, right. You guys see how big this thing is? Look at next to me. It's like as big as my head. They want me to consume it in 5 days. I don't know if I can do that. It's pretty good. I really, really enjoy it. It's thick. I hate it when it's all watery and runny and weird. I'll be right back. So I had an idea, and I want to run it past the crew since you're all here. All right. I was watching one of my favorite streamers the other day, and he doesn't usually do this, but he had like an easel and a Bob Ross wig, and he started painting happy trees on his stream. And that's not his stream is not a painting or an art stream. If I were to come on and do arts and crafts with you guys, would that be something that you would watch, you would be into? Would you guys hang out with me while I painted or, I don't know, did something of that nature? Because it was so fun. I really, really enjoyed watching Stankrat paint happy trees. Goosebump says, oh, yeah. Brianna Miller loves this idea. I thought you guys would love this idea. Well, I'm going to get some supplies. I need to practice my art skills so that I can paint Warhammer with my buddy. So I definitely need to get some acrylics and start, mixing and matching and seeing what I can come up with. Literally everybody's into it, okay? I will definitely check to make sure it's not on the list, Kellyanne. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Yeah, we do have quite the crew here, don't we, Anika? I'm definitely, I can't do it without the wig, Brianna. Like 100% need a wig. Literally everybody wants to do this. Okay, this is going to happen. You're just going to have to give me some time. I probably won't be able to get supplies until the end of the month. Well, 10 days. So give me a couple weeks and we can make this happen. But I'm glad that I brought it up because now I know that it's absolutely wonderful and everybody wants to do it with me. So, and I'm not the best painter, right? But we're definitely gonna do it. Like 100%. I have a bunch of wigs. I just don't have a Bob Ross wig. One day I'll bust out my costumes. I have a bunch of stuff. I got a lot of cowboy stuff, a lot of leather and fake gun holsters. And I want to get some like pink Toys R Us pistols, like little toy guns. I think that would be really cool. Anyways, now we're talking about costumes. Y'all don't know my artistic side at all. Y'all just kind of know my lifeboat stuff, but I like to. I love Halloween. I like to dress up. I like to go dancing. I like all kinds of stuff that it's not a stereotypical man kind of thing, right? So I'm excited to share some things with you guys for sure. You ever see the Happy Painter show with Bob Ross? Absolutely, 100%. I used to love that. Oh my gosh, a different costume every week. I mean, that does sound fun. That sounds like a lot, though. We could definitely get some different costumes going. I don't know about a schedule, though. Wigs will be on sale for Halloween. That's correct. And I have friends that work at Spirit Halloween, so I can get a discount. Shout out to Julian. You're the man. Love you, dude. Shauna B, good to see you. Catalina, hello. All right, guys. On that note, I'm going to get out of here and make a hot breakfast. You guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for hanging out with me and talking about this. I hope it helped. I'm sure that we could come back and revisit this topic and like have a whole nother show and not even repeat myself once, right? So maybe we'll do that. This topic deserves a revisit. So best believe we will. What's going on? Rise higher. Glad you made it. Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It certainly makes a difference. Leave me a comment if you got something to say. I would love to read it. I've been responding pretty promptly these days. We can get a little dialogue going. And if you have any suggestions, questions, also, hit me in the comments. And when I say, that's another slang thing I do, please leave me a comment if this is how you feel. But yeah, you guys have a great day, all right? Start the weekend off great. Show yourself some grace and some patience today. Captain Calhoun, out. Where are the buttons over here?